No.
He just wants you to be mad. He wants this to be a referendum on your anger and your anxiety, or if he can keep you home, your apathy, because everything's not peachy keen. He wants this to be a choice. And it's really interesting to me to watch all these advertisements and all these things and compare it to the way this community college runs. This place is fact-based, right? The president of the community college does not wake up every semester and say, I'm going to offer these 20 things, whether anybody likes it or not, I just feel this is what I should do. No, he looks at the economy, he looks at the student demand, and they give you what makes it work. You know, that's the way we are about everything we care about. Like in Michigan, football is reasonably popular. So, we all love football. And I'll bet you anything, whether you like Michigan or Michigan State, there's half of this crowd, men and women, that can give me a detailed history of Denard Robinson's injuries and how likely it is that he will play in the next Michigan game. I'll bet you there's at least that many people who can remember 20 plays in the fourth quarter of Michigan State's comeback against them. Trying to think what I'd do for you if I were there. And I have to tell you, it's no secret that I did what I could to defeat President Obama. And I still like my Secretary of State. I think both he and the Congress have done a better job than most Americans think because we are in the gap. They haven't felt the benefits. So let me tell you what I think the deal is. I think there are three things that matter to your future. Where are we now? What are we going to do now? And who should do it? The rest of it is all smoke and mirrors. So let's just pretend for a moment we were making a curriculum for the community college or drawing up the game plan for the next Michigan or Michigan State football game. Let's just assume we were living in the fact-based world. Where are we? We have recovered 70% of our lost GDP after that crashed. How does that stack up against the competition? It's an international football game. How are we doing against the competition? Germany's got 60% back. Japan got 50% back. Great Britain got 30% back. So we're beating the competition. That is not cause for applause, but it ought to give people pause before they go back to the team that dug the hole, who will get in there with their shovels again. It's enough to make you think. So, what should we do now? I think there are four things we have to do now. We've got to have more jobs, we've got to finance them, we've got to educate and train people to do them, and then we've got to do something about this debt. Okay? All right. So then, who's more likely to do it? This is all that matters. Simple, basic stuff. So let's look at this. Who's more likely to do it? First, look at the job. We know we're going to have job growth when we come back to the country. In small business, manufacturing, green energy, technology, and infrastructure. That's where the jobs are. Okay? So he voted for the stimulus. The stimulus, the Republicans say it was a failure. His opponent says it was a failure, even though I read somewhere that his own son got a job from a project funded by the state. Most people who think their kids go to college think it's a success when their kids get a job, but he's entitled to his opinion. So, what are the facts? The facts are that every independent study says that stimulus created more jobs than it was projected to do, that there are 3 million people the green jobs portion, not yet finished, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of jobs. They would give up our leadership in the race for a clean energy future, a leadership to save the planet and make America number one economically again. This is a clear choice. You want more jobs? You got to vote for the congressman here. Yeah. If they hire new jobs in new manufacturing industries with clean energy, that gives loan guarantees and credit lines for small business, a direct lending facility for the Small Business Administration, amazing things. And this guy was leading the way on this. Small business can't get any credit now. You bailed out the banks, they are going to pay 92% of the money back, but they got the money. Did you know there is $1.8 trillion in American banks today uncommitted to loans? That's more than enough money to get us out of this mess. They can loan $10 for every dollar they got in and not get in any trouble like the Wall Street guys. So we got to loosen up that money. He's actually done things to do that. What does the opponent say? All that's a waste of time and money. All you really need to do is make permanent the temporary tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans. Let me tell you something. I know something about this. I studied this. And I'll give it. I love saying this. I never had a nickel to my name till I got out of the White House. So I'll get a lot of money if the Republican position prevails. And let me tell you about that. I never thought I'd have any money. I never cared about it. I'm a middle-class guy whose family worked their way into the middle class from something considerably less. And so when I got this money, I don't feel entitled to be exempted from my responsibilities as a citizen. Here's what I know about the economics. The single most inefficient thing you can do if you're trying to grow jobs is to give the wealthiest Americans a big tax cut because we can't spend it all. This is just economics now. I'm not talking about, never mind the ethics of it. No, you can't spend it. On the other hand, if you give small business a tax break every time they hire somebody, if you give investment incentives to move manufacturing jobs back to America, if you give families tax credits to send their kids to college, all those things give you more jobs. If you want them, you got to be for the Congress. More than $600 billion over a decade under his opponent in the Republican Party's position would be added to the debt for tax cuts for people with taxable incomes, so their real incomes higher, taxable incomes of over $1 million. Almost $500 billion for people with taxable incomes over $2 million. They won't spend the money. How many times do we have to do trickle-down economics to face the fact it doesn't